Today's topic is the conjunction das, which means that. So in this video, you'll learn how to connect two sentences using this conjunction. This is unfortunately a little bit confusing because you already know a word that sounds exactly the same. Das spelled with one S. And to make matters worse, das with one S can sometimes mean the when it's used as a definite article. But also, get this, it can also mean that when used as a demonstrative pronoun, as in wer ist das or das ist ein Problem. That's not the that we want today, so let's get rid of that. What we mean by das with two S's is entirely different. This is a conjunction, otherwise known as a word that can link two clauses together. Other conjunctions you might know are because, if, but, whether, and so on. So what we're talking about here is the that you'd use if you wanted to say, I'm glad that you're feeling better, or I didn't know that today is your birthday. What makes das so interesting is that it is a subordinating conjunction. That's the fancy term for a conjunction that moves the conjugated verb in its clause to the end of the clause. Another verb-kicking conjunction you might know is weil, which means because. So let's say I had two clauses. Ich finde es prima. Du lernst Deutsch. I want to connect these with das to make the new compound sentence, I think it's great that you're learning German. To do this, I can keep that first phrase intact, exactly as written, but I'll need a comma at the end of it instead of a period. Now we'll use das as our conjunction, the piece that connects the two phrases and gives the new sentence a modified combined meaning. Now, because das is a subordinating conjunction, we can't just keep that second piece exactly as it was in the standalone sentence. Instead, we have to move the conjugated verb from the standard second position to the last position in the clause. We end up with Ich finde es prima, dass du Deutsch lernst. Let's say we had a more complicated sentence as the second one. For instance, maybe I want to tell you, I think it's great that you bought a new shirt. As in the first example, to put these together, we need to find the conjugated verb in the second piece. Here, it's the helping verb hast, not the past participle gekauft. So once we combine these two sentences using das, the verb hast will move to the end of its clause. We end up with Ich finde es prima, dass du ein neues Hemd gekauft hast. This may sound a little weird at first, since you have a participle right next to its helping verb, which doesn't happen very often, especially in that order. But this is okay. The helping verb hast had to move to the end because of das, the subordinating conjunction. Let's do one more, and this time we're going to use a modal verb. Also, let's change up the first phrase just for the sake of diversity. Now, the first part is pretty simple. We can just take that initial phrase, keep it in the same order, and put a comma at the end of it instead of a period. Now we have to find the conjugated verb in the piece that we want to attach. Don't get fooled by the infinitive verb machen at the end. It's there because we're using the modal verb muss. That's our conjugated verb, so that's the one that will move to the end of the sentence after das. Our finished product reads, Es ist schade, dass Sandra am Wochenende ihre Hausaufgaben machen muss. Let's review the conjunction das. Das means that, and be sure to spell it with two S's. It's a subordinating conjunction, which means that it will move the conjugated verb to the end of its clause, as in the examples above, even if you have multiple verbs in that clause. Also, though it may seem pretty minor, you absolutely need a comma to separate the two clauses, after the first clause and before the word das.